facilité, ça c'est l'ennui. Je peux faire ça. Hop, tout ça tout le temps, c'est mieux parce que juste ça.
Il faut vivre ses amours dans l'instant, sinon ils sont voués à l'échec. Il faut vivre dangereusement les instants de chaque jour. Et s'installer dans la sécurité, de prévoir ses sentiments. Serait d'une grande hardiesse, grande témérité.
Et qui veut la facilité, ça c'est un ennui. Je peux faire ça. Hop, tout ça tout le temps, c'est mieux parce que juste ça.
Where do the words come from? Real life books for television, you know, and you just skim them and start including.
No, man, when I'm working, I hear them, you know, and I just throw them down.
Felt like an infant sitting in the middle of the room, pretending to know what everybody was talking about.
I've tried both NN-DMT and 5-MeO-DMT, and I was shocked by what I experienced. One showed me fractal realms full of machinels, and the other had me dissolving fully into source. How these experiences transform my art, my soul, and my life. First, let's establish some key differences. When most people refer to DMT, they're often referring to NN-DMT. This is also known as the spirit molecule and is what is found in ayahuasca, but it can also be found in its pure crystal form, and one vaporizes it, and also has a smokable form called changa. NN-DMT is much more common compared to 5-MeO-DMT. 5-MeO-DMT, also referred to as 5 or bufo or the toad or the god molecule, is what is found in the bufo arvarius toad. But there's also a synthetic form that does not use the toads, where it's pure vaporized 5-MeO-DMT. And then usually in its vaporized form can last around 15 minutes versus changa can last more like 40 minutes and ayahuasca can be upwards of 8 hours depending on how many cups you drink. Compared to 5-MeO, that is 5-MeO in its vaporized and its bufo form can last somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. On the surface, these two molecules sound similar, but what you experience is completely different. A key similarity they do share is that they're both very powerful experiences, and they're both found already in the human body, which is quite fascinating. NNDMT I have worked with quite a bit. Ayahuasca ceremonies. These journeys were quite fascinating and have had the biggest impact on my art, and most of my artwork is actually inspired by NNDMT. NNDMT often looks like fractal realms of light, and many people report seeing beings, as I have. I've seen a lot of beings on NN, everything from machine elves to jesters to the Hindu deities to other versions of myself to even God. In short, I cannot count the number of times I've done NNDMT, but to put it simply, it's been quite a lot. Many people, besides seeing entities, they also report seeing hyper-real landscapes with intricate architecture and sometimes sacred geometry, things of this nature. This was a psychedelic that truly unlocked my imagination as an artist, and is seen as a common theme in most of my artworks. In fact, I even often hide the NNDMT molecule in a lot of my artworks, if you look closely. I'll try to put into human words the best I can what a DMT experience feels like. So, of course, first I have to take multiple very large hits. It's almost like you really gotta want it to be able to go in there to have full breakthrough. You have to really give it your full lung capacity. So I'll usually do some Wim Hof before, and you have to let go of all doubt and all fear, because you have to really be willing to go fully in there to be able to truly break through. So it's like it has that barrier of entry where you have to give it your 100% effort to get in there. But once you do at first, like when you're taking your hits, you'll start to see like reality kind of start to have some trails and some colors and maybe some like slight fractals, and you'll start to feel it pretty strongly, and then if they push to the full limit, can't help but just lay back. So I usually do this on the floor on some sort of floor bed, and I'll lay back and just completely let go. This isn't like other psychedelics like mushrooms or LSD where you're very much still here and interacting. You really, with a full NN breakthrough, you have to just go somewhere else. So all that the body does is just lay back and just relax. When you transcend to this beautiful place, and it often starts with a sort of humming or like buzzing. It almost feels like the frequency of the universe starts going up and up and up, and it starts going like that. This is why in a lot of my artworks I'll paint with holographic effects, because that's as close as I feel like I can translate that. It's like everything's every color at once. And you go to this space that has a very interesting sensation, at least for me, where it doesn't feel like, whoa, where am I? This is something new. But it's almost like a returning back to a remembrance of oh yeah, is the feeling I get. Oh yeah, home.
That doesn't mean anything, because that's a Other people liking it is out of your control. All that's in your control is making the thing to the best of your ability. I talk about it, usually the way I talk about it is greatness. And that's the way I thought of it. My whole life was, my interest is in making something great. Greatness, lasting greatness, timeless. And I came to realize recently, it's all an offering to God. And if you're making an offering to God, you're not thinking about, oh, what's the budget? Or I hope this segment of the audience is going to like it. We don't think like that. It's a higher vibration. We're making the best we can make to the best of our ability out of love and devotion. That's what it is. And there is no, I'm changing it for someone else, because it can't be better than this devotional act that we're doing. There is no higher form. Most of the artists and laugh at it. And that makes sense, because when someone gives you criticism, it's telling you as much about who they are as what you've made. It's like we make things, and then we make it with one through our filter, our perspective. And then you receive it through your filter with your perspective. So even if we both like it, we probably don't like it the same way for the same reasons. We all have our own relationship to it. Everyone has their own relationship to it.
Suddenly you wake up one morning and you literally don't want to get out of bed, and you feel that you can't face the world because the strength that you had the day before seems to have gone.
Well, then you've got to go back to sleep and dream and go into another world. You see, there are lots of worlds. I mean, people just think this is the only one there is. If this world is hanging you up, go off into another one. You can. I mean, it sounds very fey and, I don't want to nonsense, but it is possible that people could remember how to do it, and they really have forgotten. You can transcend all these things in your own mind, and you can't always take people you love with you. You can't, because people have their own depth. And when you think what's in your mind, it's incredible.
If you don't try to please anyone, this is like a very funny rule. I have learned a lesson that if you don't please anyone, you have a slight chance of pleasing everyone. But if you try to please just one person, or even 10 people, if you try to please them, you won't please anyone. It sounds a bit like stupid, but it is actually the truth.
Just don't tell me what to do. I don't care if I sell any records. I've already sold a lot of records. I sold a lot of records. What do I sell more records? Fantastic! Who cares? What do you get? You go home, you go to sleep. You're still sleeping, whether you sold records or not. You walk around. You got all the stuff you got in your life. Selling records is like I can't say what it's like.
Not satisfying.
It's not satisfying. Playing in front of people is satisfying. Seeing the people getting off and watching the people move and watching them become like a mass that moves, where everybody's together and they're all getting off and nobody's thinking about how cool they are. Everybody's together. That's rock and roll. That's what I'm here for. Whatever.
success on this planet is due to the music that musicians are playing, that they're forced to play by some who just think of money and don't realize that music is a spiritual language and it represents the people of Earth. The musicians are compelled to play anything. It goes straight to the throne of the creator of the universe, and that is how he sees you, according to your music. Because see, music is a universal language, and what you call musicians to play is what goes to the creator as your personal ambassador and your personal nemesis.
You forget all the beautiful moments of your life. It's so great to have recordings of these. You should record yourself more. We have the technology. I know it feels weird sometimes, and even me, I've like kind of stopped. But looking back at this, it's like I'm happy I have this moment, because otherwise it's just like sometimes you forget these moments like that.